So whenever I come across a big idea or aha moment, I make a video. And today's big idea is this. Purpose is a map, not a destination. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Sam, and a couple of months ago, I started this YouTube creator journey, and this is probably the third iteration of this channel. And what I found is that maybe it'd be better for me to create these like under 11-minute videos where I get to bring you into the flow in life of my journey of discovery, of learning, and of growth. And so today I want to talk about how purpose is a map, not a destination. And so many of you guys may not know, but I spent 6 years serving with Pastor Rick Warren, who actually wrote the book, The Purpose Driven Life. And I was part of the team that was doing the Global Peace Plan, where we're trying to mobilize a bunch of our members to go make a difference in the world, and my role was to helping churches to teach how to kind of build a church to help people live a purpose-driven life. And so, as I'm reading through The Meaning of Life, so this is a book that I started reading a couple of days ago. Uh, he kind of defines meaning, right? So he actually gives us a formula for happiness, right? Which is enjoyment and satisfaction and meaning. So all those three added together equals happiness. But on the meaning side, he gives us another formula where he says to find meaning, you need to have coherence, purpose, and significance. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill in on the purpose and the big idea that stood out to me and gave me kind of a when everything just kind of like all these ideas you have, it kind of sticks together. I had that moment when I read this line that purpose is a map of your life. Purpose is a map, not a destination. And so for me, I spent many years working with this guy who wrote the Purpose Driven Life book, 50 million books sold. A lot of celebrities and sports athletes kind of point to this as a defining book in their life. And then combining these two together has been really interesting for me because I agree that a purpose is a map, not a destination. And so often when we look at purpose, we're trying to figure out like where I'm trying to get to, or like what's the purpose of my life, right? What is my destiny? As sometimes people will say. And what I found in kind of the 20 years of helping people, but also helping myself discover kind of like how to live life of purpose, I realized it's less of a destination, is really a map. And what I'm really focusing on is not focusing on the destination, but working on the North Star, which is a set of values that helps give me direction in life. And so I love this idea that purpose is a map, not a destination. And one of the things that we would teach in Purpose Driven is that the reason why the word driven is there is you can make a choice. You could either drift through life, very directionless, very purposeful-less, or whatever you mean, not live without purpose, or you could be very driven in a healthy way with purpose. And so it's a choice. Most people kind of exist in life, but what we're trying to encourage is in order to truly live a life, you need to have a purpose and you need to be driven towards that purpose. And so I thought this was really great. And one of the biggest thing is instead of finding like clarity on where you want to go, I think the work is actually finding clarity on the map that is your purpose, right? And this brings me into kind of the 5 steps of leading change that I use in my consulting practice. And so for me, this is it's really going to change the way that I actually can communicate these 5 kind of phases of 5 steps, because it's helping you to define your purpose or define your map. And so the 5 kind of ways, 5 steps, or 5 phases of this, of managing and navigating seasons of change is this: is one, you need to embrace the current reality, right? Let's be honest and true. Look at your budget, your time, and your calendar, and the people around you, to figure out like what your reality truly is. Secondly, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on envisioning the desired future. And instead of thinking like 10, 20 years out, you want to actually focus on what does tomorrow look like? How do you make tomorrow more beautiful, better? How do you make improvements of tomorrow? And so one of the exercises I use there is to kind of articulate kind of the perfect day or the idealized day. And so you have your here and you have your there, right? So you embrace your current reality and you vision the desired future. And then the third step is to establish the pathways forward. So you see how we're trying to design a map here, right? And so as you're designing your path forward, it's not just one path, but you're gonna have multiple scenarios. And also you're gonna have different paths based upon kind of the areas of your life or the dimensions of your life. And so as you establish and think through kind of the paths, you're identifying the obstacles like the barriers and the roadblocks and the hurdles and the distractions that's going to prevent you or take you off course. Then what you're going to do is you're also going to establish what we call rhythms and systems, because in order to get there, you want to get there with some sense of ease and some optimization. And so you're going to start thinking through practices and habits and systems and tools to make that journey. So think of it as a backpack and kind of the cadence of your journey, so the pace of the journey. And then lastly, you have to enroll in leading the change, meaning you have to level up. For you to get from here to there, the person you are today is not going to be the person that's going to get you there. And so what are the competencies and the capabilities and also the capacities that you need to grow in order for you to be able to complete the journey? And so for me, like it all helps me put all my ideas and frameworks back together into one kind of coherent kind of set, where really what I'm trying to do is help you to define your purpose or articulate and design the map, which is, according to Arthur Brooks, is your purpose. Now, with all of that, I think the last book that I want to talk about is my other. This is my favorite book of all time, The Alchemist, and this is a book about a journey that is a journey to return home. And so for me, when I look at a map, it's not a linear map; it's a circular map. It's always a return back to home. And the way that I see that is there's actually 4 seasons based upon the hero's journey from Joseph Campbell, where you have a clarity of calling and then you step in and you answer the call, and that brings you into a journey, right, that helps define your character, right? So what it does is it changes your identity and who you are, but also changes your craft, meaning it helps you to level up on your skills and your abilities. And as you come through this journey and you fight and you slay dragons, you discover the things that you're able to do now, right? Because you've gone through this narrow road or the hard path. You return back home being a different person, and that's the gift, right? That you bring to the world is a better you. And when you do that and you return to into the world and you think about what is the contribution that you want to make on behalf of others. And so this journey it began with you, but it ends with an ability to serve others, and it brings you back to home. And when you return home, there's another journey and another journey and another journey. And so the way I like to say is you have a choice to either be on a hamster wheel and just stay the same spot, or you could spiral down, meaning you could go into despair and discouragement and self-hating, right? Or you could spiral up, right? So with each loop, each lap, you're actually going to be a better version of yourself, a different version of yourself, that's able to make greater contributions and actually show up in the world with more confidence and more peace and what we call non-anxious presence. And so these are the 3 books, right, that I've kind of put together, right, in this 11-minute video, where I started off here, and this is where I did a lot of my ministry, Purpose Driven Life. And then I read this book that catalyzed a little bit of all the different ideas that I had. And then this is a reminder that our journey is actually a circular journey. It's a hero's journey. And every time we take a lap, we become a different version and hopefully a better version of ourselves that the world needs, right? That our family needs in order for us to make a better future. And so the whole point of these videos that I'm making is to help us all, by me going first, to learn how to live and lead a meaningful life, right? But also help us to build a beautiful home for myself and my family and for those that I love. And lastly, in order to do all of that, I also want to put that together in order to create a better future for my children, for my community, and hopefully maybe the world. All right. So, hey, I hit all that content under 10 minutes. I hope it was helpful for you. I'm probably going to make more videos to kind of break it down a little bit more than do this kind of hurried 10-minute video. But hey, If that was helpful to you, leave a comment. Let me know like what you see as your purpose. Where are you and where are you going? And also, if you are reading the book with me, the meaning of your life, let me know any thoughts and some insights that you've been pulling that could help us have a conversation on future videos to come. And so, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.